Hey guys, and welcome back to Hear Me Out Pitch. I'm Tim,
And I'm Willem.
and this is episode 20.
Yeah, 20.
We've hit 20. We've been doing this for 20 weeks now.
20 weeks.
5
Thought you
months.
would run away by now, but I know where
I'm your
you
neighbor.
live.
I can't run away. I'm stuck until my lease is out.
Oh. Ah.
Not even then, because we're extending the lease.
Oh, good.
You're stuck with us for another 6 months.
Yay. Ah. Yay.
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 Yeah.
Yaws. Well, everyone, it is a Thursday. It is a very dark Thursday. It is getting dark real fast, and we haven't even had daylight savings yet. For all of you outside America, we're like, what's that?
Good.
Good. You're lucky.
If you don't know what that is, good.
So basically for us, 7:40, it's 7:41 right now as we're recording. So how dark it is right now, it's going to be that dark at 6:41 in a couple weeks. So it's just wonderful. Oh, gotta love the winter time.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I get it to a fault.
I'm not a farmer, so no, I don't get it.
Well, they also want people to drive safely to work, get more daylight. Because if it was,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's,
But
yeah.
I have my very strong opinions about daylight savings. I lived in Arizona the good part of a year,
Yeah.
and they don't do that.
No, they
And
don't.
it was amazing because I didn't have to do the tedious thing of change my clocks.
They didn't do it in Ghana, but the thing is, sun goes up at 5:30 in the morning, sun goes down at 5:30 in the morning. That's what you get when you're pretty close to the equator.
When you're on the equator.
So,
Yeah. Chile was same as Arizona. Like it was just the reverse.
it was the reverse. Oh, yeah, and I just got hit with a tired stick. But also, it is after Halloween. We hope you all had a wonderful Halloween. And we didn't really set up a movie this week. Tim was asking me, and I said, you know what? Enjoy Halloween, no movie night, because it would just feel weird to watch a movie that's different on Halloween, like something like crappy. And I just wanted to enjoy the Halloween. I don't know. I had a pretty good Halloween.
Well, and it's episode 20. So I think this is a good. What we're gonna do is a good episode 20.
I like it. I like it. I've been wanting to do it for a while because, again, this may be about pitches and stuff, but also we want to show how much we love movies. And today we're going to do something special. Originally, I just wanted to do 5 movies and just do live action this week. But Tim convinced me to do our top 10 movies. And I was like, all right, meet you in the middle. 5 live action and 5 animated. Top 10. There you go. So
Yeah. So we had to take the time to put them into order in the top 10 instead of our 2 top 5 lists.
and that took a bit for me because I hadn't think of animated movies. I had to do a lot of stuff. But yeah, it was quite the thing. It was quite the adventure. And it's going to be nice because unlike the Avatar: The Last Airbender episode, which I wish you all would go listen to, it won't be the same. I don't know how this list is going to go.
I honestly doubt our top 10 movies are going to be the same.
Yeah,
at all.
very much.
I think we're going to have 20 different movies.
So I'm pretty excited. And honestly, for every movie I put out here today, I would highly suggest everyone watch them. But also they're all part of every walks of life. Some of them are rom-coms, some of them are action, some of them are very violent, some of them are very adult, and some of them are childish. So it's funny. At least for me, that's my list. My list is very much, you will see how my mind works, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be hilarious. Well, since Tim started off the episode, I guess I'll start the list.
Cool.
And I'll go with my number 10. And number 10 is the Coen Brothers movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Have you ever heard of that movie, Tim?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Ah,
I think my wife owns it.
Oh.
I'm not 100% sure.
If you need
Don't
to
quote me on that.
I don't think I do not physically own it, but it's one of my favorite movies. I definitely many people thank it for having its wonderful for influence its soundtrack influencing our music not going so crazy because it came out in 2000 and it is just a fun take of the Odyssey and just the it has George Clooney. It has I can't remember a lot of actors' names. It has oh my gosh, who plays Sully from John Goodman? He's in it as one of the, it is such a good movie about these three men going on an adventure. One of them they want to get treasure. They escape from prison, and there's all these old songs. The movie starts out with the Big Rock Candy Mountain.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know if you've probably heard of the I Am a Man of Constant Sorrow song. You've probably heard it every now and then.
I've heard it.
They sing there's a part where these women distract them because they're supposed to be the sirens. They're washing their clothes in a river and they kind of get seduced and they're singing like a go to sleep, you little baby. And if you've heard of the As I Went Down to the River to Pray,
Yeah.
that comes from that movie. But it's just really good. Has a lot of analogies. The devil's chasing after him. He's blind and has a bloodhound, and it is so good. And oddly enough, there's a scene with the Ku Klux Klan in it, and their song is one of my favorite songs of the movie. And that sounds very wrong,
Very interesting.
but it is every song is a old song of our American heritage. They're all old American folk songs, many that weren't recorded very well. And then this movie came out and they sang them. Funny enough, the Big Rock Candy Mountain was originally written like the late, like I'm talking 1890s, and was originally recorded in like the 1910s, 1920s. And that version you hear at the beginning of the movie is like the original one. And it is, I don't know, I love it. The folk songs are great. It's one of my favorites. It has a lot of laughs, but it's one of my favorite takes of the Odyssey, and it is so good. So good. So, yeah, that's my number 10.
Okay. Nice. My number 10 is a little bit of a weird one. It comes a little bit out of the blue. It's Maleficent.
Really?
Yeah.
With Angelina Jolie?
Yeah.
Really?
For a while, it was my favorite movie because Disney actually did a somewhat decent job with a live action adaptation.
Oh, I didn't even think about the live action Disney. Oh, nope. Another time.
No, I think it's the only one that they did a good job.
You didn't
with.
like Cinderella? Cinderella is one of my favorites.
Cinderella's okay, and I guess Beauty and the Beast is okay.
Lily
and,
James is my wife.
and I guess I don't know. I guess there are a few live action adaptations, but the Maleficent was my favorite, and
Did you like the second one?
I did.
Okay, I've
did.
never seen it, so
It's good.
okay,
It's good.
Okay,
I think the biggest reason I liked it so much, is because when I was younger, right, Sleeping Beauty was, I think, potentially my favorite movie, my favorite Disney princess movie. I mean,
are we gonna see it later in the list? Maybe.
it's not.
Oh,
it's not there.
really? You've grown up from it.
Kind of grown up.
Wow.
This is the only, I think, I gotta double check. Yeah, it's the only Disney princess movie on my list.
Oh my gosh! I think I know what.
It's,
Okay.
It's a really good movie, and just taking what we know from Sleeping Beauty and taking Aurora and what was his name, Prince Philip,
Eric. Philip. Yeah.
and Maleficent, taking their story and kind of twisting it a little bit into
Its own thing.
its own thing and giving it new life, kind of reviving it. The reason I liked the original Sleeping Beauty so much was because there was a dragon, and and it is a good story.
It is. It's
Um,
in Sleeping Beauty is in one of my top princess movies as well.
okay, it's yeah, it's a good. It's just a good movie. It's not on my list. I've got to say this. Favorite Disney princess movie is Tangled.
Ah,
It's just a good movie.
it is a good one.
But Maleficent is in my top 10 because it is just it's what Disney should be. It's how Disney should be rewriting these movies, should be adapting these movies instead of what we get with the garbage that we've been getting recently.
Yeah, it is. I think, and people will complain, damned if you do, damned if you don't, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it was original, it was different, and it showed Maleficent in a new light.
And
And
it took the fantastical part of that world and it expanded on it. It gave a history of the bad guy for one, which is awesome. And for two, it made the bad guy the good guy. It changed the story, and it in a good way. I don't know. I really liked it.
it is a fantastical movie. I'll give it. Okay. I know my sisters and my mother loves that one so
Yeah.
much.
And the second one is also really really good. It's not as good as the first one, but it is still really good.
Okay.
Fun fact: the second Maleficent is the last movie I watched before my mission.
Huh. I think mine was How to Tame Your Dragon 2. I don't remember. Oh, that aged us.
Yeah.
Wow. So my number 9, and I need to say that these movies in my top 10, like it's a struggle, but these are like, I don't know if I've seen probably a couple thousand movies in my life. Yeah, anyway, point being, these are my top 10. I love all of them so much. Number 9 is Iron Giant. I love the
I'm
Iron
surprised
Giant.
it's not higher.
It
I'm surprised you talk about Iron Giant so much. I'm surprised it's not like in your top 3.
it's in my top 5 animated movies of all time, but when you add some of my favorite live action movies, I have to like,
Fair.
dude, even some of the, like, I honestly am like, oh, because the thing is, I didn't want to be like, oh, I don't want all my, because the little boy inside me wants to put all 5 animated movies up first, because they were the 5 movies that I saw a lot as a little boy, and they resonated with me and kind of made me who I am. So, yeah. But if I look at how in the past couple years, which movies I've been really watching the most and connecting to, anyway. But Iron Giant, love it. Just lovable Iron Giant. His sacrifice at the end of the movie, just the connection with Superman is one of my favorite. You are who you choose to be, and he chose to be Superman, and it is so good. Just the internal conflict, the young boy with the faith enough to run up to a rampaging giant and ask him to stop. It is such a wonderful movie. It has a lot of humor, and it just makes me choke up to this day. I love it. One of my favorites. So good. Ugh. I want to watch all these movies now.
I know, I was making this list earlier and I was like, oh, I should watch this. No, I should watch this. No, I should watch this. But, I did end up watching my number 4 movie
Oh.
earlier today.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
So we'll get to that. But, yeah. My number 9 is also an animated movie.
Oh.
It's the first Kung Fu Panda.
Oh.
It's just such a good movie. It is just awesome. I love Jack Black. Everything he's in is fantastic.
Oh, it's so good.
And I think the first thing that he was in that I actually was like, okay, that's Jack Black.
Yeah. It was Kung Fu
It was
Panda.
Kung Fu Panda.
The beginning
Like,
is iconic.
I've seen other movies with him in it, right? Nacho Libre, for example. Hilarious movies. They're all great. And sadly, there were no Lord's chips in Kung Fu Panda, but but Kung Fu Panda is just it's a beautiful story of somebody who is whose destiny lies outside of fate in a way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like he wasn't one of the Furious Five.
No.
He was just some
Daydreamer.
daydreamer who worked at his dad's noodle shop in China. Like that's all he was. And then by pure happenstance and hilarity, he ended up as the Dragon Warrior, and he succeeded. He took the role that fell into his lap by accident. And I know Master Uwe says there are no accidents, but this role fell into his lap by accident, and then he fulfilled that role. It took some trial. It took some really, 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 really hard work, but he did it. And this movie has one of my favorite quotes of all time. The past is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. Master Oogway says that, and it's a powerful quote. And when I worked as a youth mentor at a youth treatment center, that quote, I would write different quotes up on the board every morning for the kids to come out and see. And that quote was probably on that board more than any other quote, because it's just such a good one.
It's Kung Fu Panda is, I have two of them. I didn't get the third one, but I was gifted. My mom was giving away DVDs. She was like, we don't really use DVD player or whatever. I still have a Blu-ray player. I will be honest though, I love the second one more, but the first one's iconic. It's like they expound on each other. I don't think the third one did as good, so I'm hoping the fourth one, which I'm hoping is good. And I think if they really need to do it, because I know the actor who plays Poe's father is 98 or 99. He is old, and he's one of my and I am so mad that I can't remember his name at the moment, because I can point him out in any cartoon that he is in. He's one of my favorites. But the second one, oh my gosh, just made the first one so much more. And Tai Lung's escape, oh, so good. Again, and I will say it's not on my top 10 list, but it is in my top, I will easily say top 100, because again, I have seen many movies.
You're wrong.
How old is he?
It's Bryan Cranston.
No, not his dad. Not the panda dad.
Oh,
The noodle shop owner. His dad. Sorry. I love Bryan Cranston. I'm talking about
no, I follow.
his dad. His daddy.
It is.
That might be his father, but that is not
James
his daddy.
Hong.
James Hong, yes.
Mr. Ping.
Mr. Ping is James Hong is amazing. He plays an Avatar: The Last Airbender. He's a few of the monks. He's the monk that's like, I'm taking him away. Yes. Like he had not time to play games. Like he's that guy.
His birthday is February 22nd, 1929.
Okay, so he's not 98 good, but
He's
still
94.
94.
That's still pretty old.
That
and
is
he's
old.
still
No, that's old.
acting.
And he does.
And
He was in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
yeah, that's
And he was awesome in it.
incredible.
Ugh. All right. Well, dang it. You got me real good. So the next one, I really doubt I doubt anyone here will see it, but it is my favorite rom-com. It is called My Sassy Girl.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. No one's ever heard of it. If you look it up on Netflix, it is originally a Korean movie. It is now a Korean soap opera. But there was a brief time where they did an American version of it. Maybe not even American. No, yeah, because it takes place in New York. And it was very, I had never heard of it before. I believe I saw it. I saw a family watching it in Ghana, and I fell in love with a scene, and I had to watch it. And when I did, I was like, this is one of my favorites. I couldn't find it online, couldn't find it anywhere. I literally got it like a year ago this year. I ordered it on DVD. Can't get it on Blu-ray because I don't know if it had some issues with the Korean version or what. But it's so good, so sweet, so silly, so stupid. I don't know why I love it so much. This dude meets this girl drunk. Like he meets her, and and after that incident, she keeps coming into his life, causing him havoc. He's like trying to do a job interview, and she walks in as a server, completely drunk. I'm here to help you, and they're like, "What?" And like, I'm his girlfriend, and she's just terrorizing him. But it just, I love it. I love it so much. It is so cute. I can, and it's funny because I hate cringy stuff. There's so many cringy scenes, but yet. This movie, I'm like, I love it so much. I see it. I can see it over there in my shelf, and I'm like, so, yeah, I love it. That's simply it. I want to sit down and watch it with someone who I plan on marrying. Like, I love it that much that I want to show that movie to them. I don't show it to anyone else. It's like a secret, like shameful thing. And people are like, that's like a total wrong. Yeah, I guess. But I love it.
Okay.
I gush about it. Like, I don't know. Y'all can't see the smile on my face when I think about this movie.
He is smiling. His smile is very wide, and it's a very cute, cheesy smile.
Stop. But yeah, that's my number 8.
Okay. My number 8 is also a little bit on the romantic quote unquote side.
We are not planning this out, by the
No.
way. We went we have no idea what's on each other's list.
No. This movie, I hope it's on your list. I really hope it's on your list. It is one of the most iconic movies of all time.
It's not on my list.
I'm so sad that The Princess Bride is not on your list. I'm so sad.
It is probably in my
top 10
maybe
live
like
action?
top 10 rom-coms maybe, or even maybe my top 50 like fantasy. It's not up there. I prefer Lady Hawk over Princess Bride. I love that movie more for Inigo Montoya and his quest.
His backstory is
His vengeance is what is one of my favorites. Like if I ever make a movie or a thing about revenge, Inigo Montoya is one of the first thing that pops in my head. Like when he corners that 6-fingered man and he says, "Promise me anything. I will give you anything and more." Kills him, and his final words to him, "I want my father back." And you're like, it's just, sorry if anyone's not seen that. Wow. But
yeah, it's older than me, and I feel like it's older than you. Probably
it is older than me.
It's an old movie.
It is an old
If you
movie.
haven't seen it, go freaking watch it.
None
It's
of the
one
movies on my
best.
list are older than me.
Yeah.
But sorry, I totally
two of
took
my
over.
movies are definitely older than both of us.
Okay.
I'm not actually sure when.
We'll talk about it. When we get to it,
comes
ask me.
Anyway,
Sorry, I totally took over for
No,
your
you're
favorite
fine.
movie because I do like it. I do, but it's just not. I do love that in Utah. It is loved here, and I do love it. But it's not like people are like marriage and whatever. Sorry.
it is one of the most quoted movies of all time.
At least here. At
At least
here.
in Utah.
At least in Utah.
At least in Utah.
You say marriage in half the room.
Marriage.
Marriage, and it's just yeah.
What brings us together today?
I almost said when you said like, you can't get rid of me. I'm your neighbor, and you're like, I'm not your partner. I'm your neighbor. Like I'm not your neighbor. Like I'm not a witch. I'm your wife. Like that sort
I'm
of
not
thing.
sure I want to be that anymore.
Yeah, like, it's quotable. Like anyone for a peanut. Like there's so many quotes.
It's good. It's got a really fun story that is easy to follow. And
Conceivable. Anyway,
it's got some really fun characters.
absolutely.
Some of the most iconic movie characters, I think. And let's be honest, Andre the Giant is just awesome, and may he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace.
But all of the actors are amazing. They all do a really good job. And the CGI in that movie for when it came out, is pretty good.
What part was CGI'd?
The ROUSs,
Do you mean
rats.
special effects?
special effects,
Because when you say CGI, I imagine they
special
did.
effects.
Okay,
not
okay,
CGI.
okay.
You know what I mean.
I just want to make sure because some people are like,
the special
when?
effects.
No, Princess Buttercup is my heartthrob. She's Jenny. She.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, I didn't put that in there. It's fine.
Jenny.
Jenny. Forrest Gump is in my top 20.
I almost put it up there. It's
Really?
It's right under Maleficent.
Forrest Gump.
Uh-huh.
I did not expect you to like Forrest Gump.
It's a good movie. I really like
It's got
it.
Princess Buttercup in it.
I know.
Even though she's kind of a jerk, but I love her so much.
That's another good story.
Yeah.
But yeah, Princess Bride is it's just a good story. It's a good it's a good damsel in distress movie. In all honesty, that's
I
what
mean,
it
we
is.
talked about it when we talked about Pompeii. It's
Yeah, we
it's
did.
very iconic.
And there's a podcast I listened to, and one of the things that they were saying in this podcast was they were basically saying that this person was pulling a Dread Pirate Roberts because the title that this person was using was not originally his own, and it was just funny. It's
It's a Gatsby.
yeah, it is. Yes,
Oh, it's a good one. I
it is
love
a good
it.
one.
All right, so number 7? 7. Another rom-com, kind of. More of a father and son story. It's called About Time. I believe it's rated R here. It's stupid why it is. But I love it. I would definitely try to find an edited version. But it's for what movies I've seen do nowadays, sensually, I'm like, this movie is PG-13 by today's
It
standards.
says it is a PG-13 movie.
Okay, because it's
Supposedly.
supposedly. So maybe it's changed by now. I don't know. It's one of those movies that like I want to own it, but I want to have it on Blu-ray now. But I discovered it. Ooh.
No, just kidding. 2013, not PG-13. I read that wrong.
Oh yeah, 2013. I remember watching it my senior year. Loved it.
You're old. Sorry.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you so much for reminding
sorry.
me. I'm shaving my beard. It's happening.
Oh, it's got me in it.
Who?
Tim.
Tim. And it's funny because the
I'm
thing is,
calling-
I
I'm
can't
calling Tim?
like name all the characters' names. I can't even name the main character's name. But I love this movie just because it. And people are probably like, "Oh, that's stupid." I'm like, "Well, I've only seen it about 4 or 5 times." The second I start watching it, I'll name anyway. Point being is, it's a wonderful story. The main character, when he turns, I believe 21. Oh my gosh, you're all seriously gonna make fun of me for this. But in their family, their men can control time. And his father's telling him this. His father is, oh gosh, he plays Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean. I love him so much. And do you feel death? And
He's a good villain.
and the main character is the red-haired dude from the new Star Wars movies. We will break the order. That guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and then
Bill Weasley as well.
What?
I think he's Bill Weasley.
Yes, and he's Bill Weasley, and then his love interest is the woman from Doctor Strange and Sherlock Holmes, Robert Downey Jr.
The love interest of Doctor Strange in the first one.
Yep, and the love interest of Sherlock Holmes. Have you seen any of the Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr.?
I haven't.
I'm gonna throw a table.
Zach was gonna have me watch it.
Zach's seen it, but you haven't.
So funny story. On my mission, right,
Okay.
I was serving as a service missionary here in Salt Lake,
Okay.
and I had just gotten home
Okay.
to start that. And I was
Okay.
like, and they wanted to watch it with me because I hadn't seen it yet, and I was like, that's cool, but I'm a
Technically a
missionary. and
missionary.
I
Oh.
shouldn't. And then toward the end of my mission, I was watching like Lord of the Rings, and I was watching like yeah. Anyway,
Oh, a service missionary.
it was fun. I met
Well,
my
how
wife.
you know our secret? Just kidding. Anyway, but there's many instances where so he can rewind time. All he has to do is go into a secluded place, close his fist, he rewinds time. He can go how long as he wants. But things change. It makes me really think about time change. And it's a wonderful story about fathers and sons, and also the ramifications of if you have children and you rewind time and do stuff before they're born, what happens? So there's so many things. It's a story about a young man making choices, and us, even though he has all the time in the world, technically, how he chooses to cherish it. It is such a wonderful ending. You think it's a rom-com, but it's really about father and sons. So, Dad, love you, miss you.
Love you too, Dad. Cool. My number 7, you're going to laugh at this.
I am.
It is a major part of who I am.
Okay.
It's the Dungeons and Dragons movie, the new one.
The newest one?
Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. It's a really, really good movie. Chris Pine does a fantastic job. The story that's told is hilarious and it's awesome. And being the absolute Dungeons and Dragons nerd that I am, I recognize a lot of those places. I've played in campaigns where I've visited a few of those places, and met some of those people. It's awesome, and I
So they
love
took it from the books.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It's set in the Sword Coast.
Oh, wow. I don't know.
The Wizards of Thay. In one of the campaigns that my dad ran for us,
Aw.
it was a pretty good story. We went up all the way from level 1 to level 20. Which doesn't happen very often.
What am I at? 14?
No, you guys are only level 9.
What? Dang it. Anyway.
But no, so we went and visited Thay, where the Red Wizards live. I think we made a deal with Zastam. I think I might be wrong.
Everyone listening, what?
The big bad guy that was trying to summon, or was trying to create an army for this Lich in this movie, and my character and my party made a deal with him. I think, Dad, if you're listening, I think, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me.
We just hear pounding come up the hallway, even though this isn't live, so it doesn't matter. But still, just do. Son, I'm ashamed. Slams the door. Oh, just kidding.
No, I recognized a bunch of those places. I recognized the spells. I recognized the creatures, and I recognized like class and racial abilities. It was just awesome.
So it was a very well done D&D movie.
Oh, very well done.
Really? I should have asked you when I first saw it, because we were... Yeah, I think I watched it finally. I didn't go see it in theaters. I'll be honest, I wasn't all that interested. I'm not...
We went and saw it in theaters. We went and saw it in theaters while my wife and I were still dating.
Did you go see it multiple times in theaters?
No.
Oh, I
Just
really
the
thought
once.
you would.
I wanted to, but I was preparing for a wedding.
Tuesday, $5 deal, man. Jeez. I mean, maybe I'll know someday when I plan for a wedding, but whatever. Gonna have a lot of violets. I'm just kidding. And my dress is gonna be immaculate.
Oh, it better be. Can I be your flower girl?
Yes. Oh, so it did. I was surprised. I didn't think anything that recent was gonna get you, but that.
No, that is the most recent.
So this movie would not be on our podcast for you making up your own.
Absolutely not.
Would you want to make your own D&D movie?
Potentially. I don't know. Here's the thing. If I'm gonna write a Dungeons and Dragons story, I'm gonna write it as a campaign.
Well, exactly. I'm pretty sure that's how half the movie was done. They did some of the scenes and they're like, wah. So
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
maybe.
Yeah, that's my number 7.
That's awesome.
And if you're laughing at me, I don't care. I'm a nerd. You can call me a nerd.
No, it's what you love. This is why we do
who I
the
am.
podcast. It was something you loved. You were not. You were satisfied with the movie.
I was very.
And it's really sad that it wasn't as big as... The only thing I remember about that movie is someone had hacked into my Adam account and bought like 17, or it was like a glitch, and people just kept... I don't know. So I have somewhat of a negative thing up towards that movie because it kept stealing my money. Anyway,
I see.
it got all resolved. Let me tell y'all, but jeez, I'm never using Adam ever again. Number 6 for me is Kubo and the Two Strings from Laika Studio.
It's a really good
It's
movie.
a really
It's
good
not on
one.
it's not on my
That's
list.
okay. It's okay. I love it more than Coraline, but Coraline is definitely my top 20. At least if we're talking animated movies, it might be my top 10 animated movies. But Kubo to me stands out more due to how much it resonated with just my love for adventures. Coraline was a good adventure, and it still had 3 challenges in a way, but Kubo's story, it starts off, the opening is so more captivating than Coraline. Coraline is kind of boring and rainy and how it's supposed to be, because we're supposed to go into the world with Coraline and go, but Kubo just starts off with this young boy missing an eye. His grandfather, the moon, stole it from him. And it's just a wonderful story. It's really action packed. It has some pretty great villains. And I don't hate the Moon King. And the ending is so satisfying. And again, the ending is one that makes me tear up. There's something special that happens involving Kubo and his grandfather. And I choke up to this day. It is one of my favorite lessons of cherishing your family. And in my personal belief that we will meet again later on, and it is just wonderful, and I love it so much. Highly if you love Laika Studios, if you loved Coraline, I highly recommend it. I think for me it is above Paranorman. It's my top. It goes Kubo, Coraline, Paranorman, Box Trolls. We don't talk about The Missing Link. Whatever, I don't know what they were thinking with that movie. Anyway, that is my number 6. Very simple, sweet. Just love it. And I love it. It's so good.
It's a good movie.
Best Legend of Zelda movie ever.
I knew it. I was waiting for it. Every time
Best Legend of Zelda movie I've ever seen.
Every time we talk about it, that's what you say, and it's valid. It's true.
As someone who loves Legend of Zelda, can you argue that
is-
statement?
I cannot argue against it.
You dress him in green and say it's just an alternate Legend of Zelda, you'd be like,
it's the Legend of Zelda. That's
the moon is just smiling down. You could switch. We could have someone fan make Kubo and Zelda combined, and anyway, Zelda as his mom, and she's and he's just trying to protect his princess, and then there's the anyway, the 2 women who, oh my gosh, the Gorons could be, oh my god.
Willem is having his Smeagol moment.
Anyway, wow, I really need to, we're talking
We'll talk about it.
We're talking about what, oh wow.
We'll talk about
we
it.
can't make a movie because I'm sure we get sued by both, but
Oh, I'm sure.
I definitely want to, we need to have an artist come and help us make a little fanfic or something. Jeez. Oh.
It is a really good movie, and it's one that I'm ready to go back and watch it again.
I have it. You can borrow it whenever you want.
We might own it too. I don't know. We have a lot of movies. I don't actually know what my wife brought into our family. What movies she actually brought?
He has a lot.
She has a lot,
A lot.
and it's awesome.
It is awesome.
But yeah. My number 6 is Big Hero 6.
Okay, did you do that on purpose?
did not.
But that is awesome.
But it fits. It works.
That is such a good one. Darn it.
It is
Harry baby.
such a good movie. It's beautiful. It's very well put together. The story itself is very cohesive. The characters are all fleshed out very well. The villain has good motives. He's not even really a villain per se. He's just a father who wants his daughter back.
And the only reason I said was to be funny because he didn't really have good motives. His motives were possibly justified. They were
justified. Yes, they were justified. They weren't good.
Yes.
But it's just a beautiful, beautiful story. If I want a new superhero movie, that's the movie that I'm gonna go to. And I think what sells it as one of my top in my top 10 movies is just the fact that you go through the roller coaster of emotions. You're super excited in the very beginning with the robot fight and the police chase, etc., or the mob chase, police, etc., and then you feel kind of ashamed. You feel the guilt that Hiro and Tadashi feel for getting caught when Aunt Cass is getting after them. You feel super depressed when Tadashi dies.
What?
I get goosebumps and I get really, really sad
Someone
every
has
single
to help.
time.
It's so sweet.
And then the curiosity peaks when you see Baymax for the first time after Tadashi's death, and the first time period. How does this big fluffy marshmallow robot fit into the story? And then it's just action and a fun mystery that needs to be solved. Chase scenes and the fights and everything. It's a beautiful story, and there is a reason we wrote a sequel to it.
Because we love it so much. Baymax is probably he is one of my favorite robots. I love robots.
He is my favorite robot. Period.
Period. Iron Giant might be my number one.
I've got a couple that I'll get to later, but
he's a good robot. I love that. It's sad because I know that I could never trust robots, but to try to have a hope of humanity in these robots, even though they can never achieve it, it makes us go, what can we do to be special? Mm-hmm. What can we do to be better as humans, to try to inflict onto these robots to make them better? Because sometimes they teach us how to be more human. There's a statue somewhere of a robot laying down, and it's just a big thank you to robots. Mm-hmm. Just Iron Giant, the Gundam robots, like all these robots that they just help us want to be better humans. So Baymax is one of them. And I just always imagine him just holding that cat. Just Hairy Baby is one of my favorite lines. Hairy Baby. Love it so much.
And I think the scene that sells it for me is when Tadashi is here.
Oh.
And the screen on his stomach, Teletubby style, and if you don't know what that is,
good.
I disagree. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna no. My sisters watched it.
It's terrifying now. Now that I'm older and I realize they're like 30 feet tall, and they're not actually that tall, but they're huge.
They're huge, and those are the babies. What do they look like as adults? There's a few fan fictions of what they would look like as adults, and they're just these floating things, and I'm like, and they just have Teletubbies are nuts.
Anyway, the Tadashi is here, the screen, and Hiro is crying after seeing his brother again, even just over a video. And that was one of the major plot points that we had in our sequel was that scene is kind of what drives our sequel a little bit.
A little bit.
So if you haven't listened to our sequel pitch for Big Hero 6, go listen to it, please.
It's like number 15 or 13. Was it that long ago?
Yeah, I think so. Well, let's pull it up real quick. I have it right here. It was our episode 9.
What?
It was our episode 9.
You're telling me that was 11 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I feel like we did that yesterday.
No.
Wow.
Fun fact, our episode 10, so 10 episodes ago was our Avatar episode.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that is
well,
funny.
I think maybe we have to make this a tradition then or something. Oh, but Baymax and robots. I'm glad we both have it. So, number 5, we're getting into the 5s. And number 5 for me is my favorite DreamWorks movie and the best one, Prince of Egypt.
That's a good one.
It's a good one. It is, doesn't matter. I can say that even if you are not religious, if you are one who does not have that sort of views, you cannot argue that Prince of Egypt is still a wonderful movie of a man called by a higher power to help free his enslaved people, people who hated him at one point, and it is just wonderful. The soundtrack is amazing.
The
As
soundtrack is one of my favorite soundtracks for any movie.
absolutely, I
So
definitely
good.
want it for Oh Brother Where Art Thou and Prince of Egypt. Definitely have two of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. It is finally being turned into like an actual musical, and I believe that it's gonna come to Utah someday. You best believe I'm hopping in on that.
I did better.
But it's so good. I love the duality of Pharaoh and Moses' relationship. And I just love the two scenes of the first scene of him leaving Ramesses and going into the desert after he kills the guard, and Ramesses is calling out for his brother, who he needed. And then at the end of the movie, when the people are freed, and he stops and listens to the wind, and we just see Ramesses alone on an island screaming out for Moses, my heart breaks every time. And that scene for me is one that's why it's on this list, because it just summarizes this whole thing of I was called, I did what my Lord asked me to do, and it pains me. It wasn't easy. In the one song of the plagues, this is my home, and I did not want this. But your stubbornness and pride is what's causing all this. So I blame you. I don't want this to happen. There's my people and who are the slaves and my people of Egypt. This hurts me so much, and it's just ooh.
Yeah, yeah.
That song is my favorite song in the whole movie. And When You Believe.
When you believe is my favorite. In the movie.
Tears.
It's a good one. I had to I had to sing it. I had to learn all the lyrics and sing it with my youth group.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
Oh,
I learned the Hebrew part and everything.
such a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Ah, good one.
I think I still remember part of the Hebrew.
That's awesome. I'm
Which is
jealous.
kind of cool. I don't remember what it means, but yeah. Anyway, that's a good movie. Yeah. My number 5 is How to Train Your Dragon, the first one.
Oh,
Another part of my life, like a big part of who I am, is dragons. My dad and my grandparents will tell you when I was younger, the walls were covered in paintings and drawings of dragons.
you and my sister would be best friends.
Yep. Well, I think that's another reason why your sister and my wife would be best friends. In our apartment, we have
Oh, so many dragons.
how
No,
many
no, no.
dragons?
Let me tell you. They have so many. He has this one. There's this one. They have a dragon made out of paper that his wife made. They have a dragon that folds into a 20-sided die. They have like 3 dragon things. There's like 2 paintings. And then there's a rug.
And I got another dragon miniature last week.
Oh, you monster. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So, yeah, dragons are a huge part of my life. When we play Dungeons and Dragons, they're one of my favorite monsters to use.
SOB for having us fight that dragon.
And yeah, it's just I love dragons. I love the idea that a massive lizard can breathe fire or spit acid or dump poison into a room or freeze everything with its breath or spit lightning. It's awesome. I love it. The concept of dragons is amazing. And so How to Train Your Dragon, it's just another one of those movies that has such a beautiful story. You get an amazing backstory into everything and everybody, whether it's explained or it's implied. And the turnaround for a viewpoint on monsters to pets is awesome. I love the idea that this one boy in his teens decides, I'm not going to kill this dragon I shot down. Instead, I'm going to feed it. I'm going to become its friend. And I'm going to learn about it and learn how to love dragons instead of learn how to love them as much as my dad hates them. And then trying to convince everybody, and the whole romance thing with Astrid, I think, is very well done. Romances in movies, it's very hard to do, to develop a romance. To take an existing romance and just make it better.
Romance
Works.
and action are brothers.
Yes.
And horror and comedy are brothers because they both have to go through the same.
Yes.
There's a build-up. The build-up, okay, I should say it this way. The build-up of comedy and horror is the same. Very similar. If you are good at making comedy, you are good at making horror, which you are all lucky I do not do. I'm just kidding. But adventure and romance, there's literal passion on both sides. They both have goals, and it kind of involves two parties if you're doing a fight. So
And it's very intense.
yeah, this sounds
That's not how I meant it.
yeah.
You know what I meant.
He is old. I am 6 years older, but yet I
And the
am the child on this podcast. So
No.
sorry.
But no, How to Train Your Dragon is just awesome. It's beautiful. My wife will tell you it's awesome. Yeah, it's just so good.
I definitely want to talk about certain things about that series. Because, no, we'll talk about it another day. But the first one is iconic, and my sister absolutely loves it. And because my sister loves it so much, I love it so much. It's just something that makes my sister who she is, and she loves it. Like, it is hard for me to think about that movie without thinking about my sister. And I have 3, and so they each have movies that they have that they are connected to. They feel the same way about the list on some of these. They'll tell you especially about the last 3. They if I hear about that movie, I think about, well, I mean, I can't speak for them, but I know at least for the sister after me, she definitely would. But this movie, she loves it, and we talk about it so much. But just the idea, you talked about how this boy looked at a dragon and said, I will become his friend. Toothless has the same exact story at one point. There's a point where he's like, I could kill him. And he just goes,
Yeah.
He goes, all right.
It's literally the same scene.
They have to depend on each
It's
other.
the same exact scene.
Yep. And it's
it's such a good movie.
love the third one.
I haven't seen the third one yet still.
You haven't?
No, and I know it's a surprise. Every time I want to, somebody I'm with says, it makes me depressed. I don't want to watch it. I'm like,
Watch it. Go find it. Go rent it.
Fine.
Jeez.
every time I've tried to watch it
You know
with
what? We're
Zach,
done. The episode's over. We're watching it before your wife finishes food.
every time I've tried to watch it with Zach, he always has some excuse. Granted, half the time it's because it's late and he's tired, but whatever.
Oh, no, that's a good one. I love, and I wanted to make it clear that almost every movie that Tim has made, I love them so much. Many of these are rewatchable that I watch many times. They're all probably definitely my top 100. I'll have to really do an extent, but I can't think of anything. Maybe I think D&D is the only one that's not my top 100.
I will say on the D&D movie, in the last month, I've watched it twice.
And it just grew up even
Within
more
a week.
you.
I watched it twice in a week.
Dang.
Once at work, at lunch and on my breaks, I was just watching it. And then I watched it a few days later with my wife.
It's very hard for me to make lists like this because there's so many genres. I could do war movies with you and do that, or I could do rom-coms. I could do.
Funny thing is, 2 of these movies that are on my list would be in the war movies category. And I'll get to that.
Oh my gosh! Because we haven't hit them. I'm like, what are you talking? Oh
No,
my gosh! I'm
haven't-
excited.
We haven't hit them yet.
Wow, that's insane. So I think for two of these, my last four, you have not seen.
Probably.
The second to last, you definitely haven't. But number four is one called Warrior.
I've seen Warrior.
You've
It's the one with the
seen
brothers,
it
right?
with the brother. Oh my gosh, you've seen
I've
it.
seen it.
It is one of my favorite movies. I love it. It's over there in that book, in that shelf. I want to find a Blu-ray of it. That's how you know, like, I love a movie, is when I own DVD and Blu-ray. Honestly, Curious George would probably be one of those. I need to go get that. Anyway, sorry, I'm looking over at my shelf like, which one?
Sorry, Curious George isn't on my list.
It's fine.
It is in my top 100 though.
Oh no, it's in my top 100.
So
It's not in my it's not my top 10, but it is in my it's just so cute. Anyway,
This is the second time that I've talked about Curious George in the last 3 days.
jeez. The movie? Wow.
I was
It's a side.
I was
Time to
talking
watch
about
it.
it with Zach. So no, it is time to watch it.
It's time to watch Curious George. It is a cute one. And I had a little sister. Anyway, we're not here talking about Curious George. We're talking about Warrior with Tom Hardy. And it is so good. Two brothers with a tragic life before. They were divided by a broken household, alcoholic, abusive father. The older brother stays behind. And the thing is, we have to learn the story with them. The beginning of this movie, you have no idea what's going on, and you follow, and you have to connect the pieces of what went wrong. And they do such a good job of telling it. The director of this movie is the director of the Disney hockey movie Miracle, which is
That's a really good movie.
in my top 10 sports movies. It is like
It's my number one sports movie.
It
I don't
is
like
so
sports
good.
movies, but Miracle.
But Miracle,
is a really
I
good
turned it on like less than 2 weeks ago and just watched the ending because I love the Miracle. Do you believe in miracles? Ah! Like it's I love movies, guys. It's very hard for me to do this. I make this top 10, but it is honestly a very loose list.
It took him a good. He said it was going to take him 5 minutes. It took him a good 10, maybe 15.
It took a bit, and that was because I hadn't thought of animated, and then I had to anyway. I love movies so much. Anyway, but Warrior, just the build up and to see these two brothers go into this competition. They're fighting for prize money. They haven't seen each other in years. They both end up in this competition MMA match, like winner takes all. You win, you get $6 million. One brother has a family and they're going to lose their home. The other brother is trying to make up to a quote unquote brother he lost in the military and fend for his family. And they're totally different, and it's crazy because it's so well done. And then mother is out of the picture. She's moved on, but their father is a recovering alcoholic who somehow magically his boys come back into his life to some degree, and it's so and there's just one scene that just hits you. Like, I was listening to this movie at work and the scene came up and I had to take a walk, or at least I had to pause it because I was about to break down in the middle of work because it's so good, so passionate, and the ending. Oh, and I wish I could know what happens to these characters after, because it just ends with the final climax and the song swells and the brothers are together at last. And literally, if you look up the poster, if you look up the cover of the movie, you'll basically know how the movie ends. But these two brothers are in a competition. Winner takes all. Only one can win. But to see it's so good. I tried watching Rocky for the first time after this movie, and I couldn't enjoy it. Because this movie, to me, is the best. It has a mix of underdog. It has a mix of overpowerment. It has a mix of... It just gives you all the emotions. I could rant on this movie, not rant. I could spew about this movie for so long of why it is one of the best sports. It is my favorite sports movie. Number one. Oh, love it. Love it. Anyway. Oh, sorry. That was like
fine.
a very high passionate, like, this is the movie of the century. Anyway.
You're fine. It gives me Cinderella Man vibes. If you've seen that.
Seen that like once.
It's boxing.
Yeah, that one's
And it's a good one.
If you like Cinderella Man, you really should try watching Gladiator sometime.
I want to.
It's good. Just find an edited or just honestly, by
gotta find
today's
the
standards, it's PG-13. I kid you not.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, no.
Anyway. Yeah.
Don't go into temptation, Tim. Don't listen.
I'll consult with the wife.
Okay, consult with the wife. Please do. You know for a fact that Zach would be like, do it. And then I'm on your other shoulder.
Zach is Emperor Palpatine. He just tells me to
And I'm
do
Darth
it.
Vader. You know you want to, son.
Zach is literally, yeah. On that note, my number 4 is actually Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. That was a really
Really?
good segue.
That was.
Unscripted.
High five.
I have to say the other Star Wars movies, episodes 4 and 6, at the very least, would have been on this list, but I was like, I've got to keep it one episode or one movie per
franchise.
franchise.
So, because I was like, I wonder if Tim's gonna do Star Wars. So I'm like, I bet you he'll just do one movie.
I'm doing one.
And I was like, okay. So I was actually trying to figure out which. I knew it was gonna be the original 3. I really was gonna think it was number 6. I really was thinking that because you love Luke.
Neck and neck. But I think episode 5 is where Luke, you see a lot of growth in Luke.
Because that's training with Yoda.
That's training with Yoda. That's seeing himself as Darth Vader, and defeating himself as Darth Vader. And I'm curious, and I should look it up, but I'm curious if that cave that he goes into is the same cave that Yoda went into in the Clone Wars. In the Clone Wars, in season 7 of the Clone Wars, you got to watch a lot to get to that point. But in season 7 of the Clone Wars, there's a few episodes where Yoda goes on his own journey, and he goes to Dagobah, and talks to Qui-Gon Jinn, who has passed away.
I'm pretty sure it is. I think that's what they were implying, because that's where he was like, I'm going to run away here.
I want to say it's the same. Well, it's the same planet, but I think that cave, when Luke faces Darth Vader / himself in that cave, I think that might be the same. And this is just my own theory.
And he doesn't know that Darth
cave.
Vader is his dad at that point,
No,
right?
he doesn't.
Oh my gosh.
That was also one of the biggest movie twists of all time at that point.
My dad
And
said the theater freaked out,
Yeah.
Tim. Like, it was
it's
insane.
it's the same feeling I'm imagining as when I watched. My dad took us. I think I explained this back in episode 5, our episode 5.
Okay.
When I was doing my Star Wars episodes.
Okay.
And I explained that my dad took us to see it during Christmas time because of the Christmas lights, the green and red lasers.
Oh, that's
you know.
right.
Anyway, he took us to see it, and the entire theater, when Han Solo was stabbed and died,
Spoilers.
if you haven't seen it, go freaking watch it. I don't care if it's trash and I've written my own. Go watch it. It's been out long enough. Anyway, it's the whole theater gasped, and they were all like, "Wait, what?" And I looked over at my dad, and he was wide-eyed, and he just looked like he was trying to figure out what the heck had just happened. And it was, yeah, I think that's the same feeling, maybe even more so than that.
It's
with
like the
that reveal.
Thanos snap.
It's like the Thanos snap.
The Thanos snap was
won.
insane.
Everybody was expecting Thanos to die, right? And then he snaps and he wins. And everybody's like, what the heck? What?
Speaking of superheroes, we excluded superhero movies
Yes.
from this, by the way. So
We did. Which, I guess Big Hero 6...
I'll let it. It's fine.
It's a quote-unquote superhero movie.
I mean, you wouldn't let me put Into the Spider-Verse, but Yeah, it's fine.
Spider-Man is a superhero.
He is, and it was the first movie to put Disney in its place.
That's true.
Like, just Sony Entertainment said, "I beat you." It's insane. Anyway, but no, it's episode 5. Just Darth Vader. And
I think the dynamic between Han and Leia, that development between those two is also really great, because it starts out
nerf herder.
Exactly. It literally starts. The movie starts with those two arguing. Like, Han is acting like he's all great, and he's a hunk. That's what he's imagining.
Doesn't it start off on Hoth?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you got Tauntaun
in Norway. Fun fact.
Oh, a little bit of home.
Yeah, a little bit.
So you're full like half Norwegian.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yes.
I'm only like 2%. You're a whole whopping 50.
I am.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
I have a Norwegian birth certificate somewhere.
Are you a dual citizen?
Quote unquote.
You can go get that. You should go get that.
I'm older than 21, so it's going to be a lot harder.
Darn.
But anyway, that's beside the point. Star Wars Episode 5 is... Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, is really, really close second in the Star Wars tier list, and then Episode 4, A New Hope, is also right up there. It's like 100%, 99%, and like 97%.
Dang.
Perfection in Star Wars. Just those movies are so good. Controversial opinion of mine, the prequels were actually pretty good. I enjoyed them.
Well, when you compare them to what we have now, of course they are. Jeez.
That's true. Anyway, but yeah, Star Wars Episode 5, just all of the aspects of the story fit together really well. It moves very quickly, and it gets right to the point. We see a lot of character growth in every single character. And I mentioned earlier that I had a couple other robots that I would call my favorites. And R2-D2 and C-3PO are also
I didn't even think of that, because I don't think them as robots, but they are. They're droids.
A lot of people do not like C-3PO, fun fact, because they think he's whiny. He's whiny, he's annoying, and he's just robotic. But I think that's what's charming about him. That and the dynamic between 3PO and R2, and their friendship. I think one of my favorite things about Star Wars as a whole, is the history that originally George Lucas was going to have R2-D2 speak.
Oh.
And it would have made the movies rated R with his language. When C-3PO is responding to R2, and he's like, in the first
my, your language.
in Episode 4, he's C-3PO is talking to R2, and R2 responds, and 3PO's like, he makes some comment about his language. It's just, yeah. It's hilarious.
those little bots, those little ones are hilarious. They're like, I don't care what you say. They're funny. I think
Star Wars would not be Star Wars without those two droids.
You're right. They definitely wouldn't be. Well, they're like the start of the whole movie. Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope. We must deliver this message.
They are the two members of the D&D party that don't do anything,
but yet they drive the whole story.
They
are the MacGuffin. They are the MacGuffin
they are the
characters.
MacGuffins. Yes.
They are the there you go. There's that word coming up again. I think Episode 6 I like more, and not just because of sexy Leia outfit. Honestly, though, the writing of her choking out Jabba the Hutt is awesome.
Agreed.
The fight above what's the pit called?
The Sarlacc pit.
The Sarlacc pit is amazing. And just everyone trying to get Han back. fight, the confrontation of Luke being like, you can still join the dark side. I mean, whoa, sorry, still join the light
still
side.
come back.
And he's like, it's too late for me. And then just no, and he just throws it. It's just Luke walked into that room with two of the most powerful men in the galaxy and walked out alone. Well,
No,
not alone.
He didn't walk out.
He walked
alone.
out dragging.
He walked out dragging his father, who is not one. I love Star Wars.
Okay.
That's why I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. Luke walked in with two of the biggest baddies in the entire galaxy, potentially the universe, and walks out with somebody who wasn't even in the room at the time. He walks out with his father, who was quote unquote dead. Because Darth Vader had killed Anakin Skywalker. But then Luke is able to bring Anakin back to the surface and kill Darth Vader. And Anakin Skywalker dies as Anakin Skywalker.
We could go on about Darth Vader. Darth Vader is, I think that's probably why I love the sixth one, just because of the finale of Anakin's legacy. And we can go on about it. I am not as big as, funny enough, I've probably watched, well, there was probably a time in our lives where I had watched, okay, this is going to definitely age me. I had seen all the Star Wars movies long before Tim could. I saw the original 3 before Tim was even born. Sat down with my dad, watched all of them. So it's just kind of funny. Like, my dad loves those movies. He goes off like Tim. What Tim did, my dad can do that. Just wah, and I'm like,
Yep.
Wah. So what I do with Marvel and DC, my dad does with Star Wars. Oh man, but Star Wars is just it's in my top probably 10 franchises, which I love. But
I think it's my number one franchise. Number one franchise.
I think 2 would probably Lord of the Rings for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine if
It's really close between the two.
I couldn't imagine either of those two not being number one. I can't say which one is number one, but
They're both number one.
fantasy or sci-fi fantasy, which one you want?
They're both number one.
All right, so
Speaking of Star Wars, episode 8 is coming
Oh,
eventually.
oh,
It will happen before we hit episode 100.
oh! You son of a! Our goal. Well, I challenged Tim. I almost said him, Tim, whatever. It works either way. My challenge for Tim is to have it done before the New Year's. Does that mean we publish it before New Year's? No, but does that mean that it's one of the first episodes of 2024? Yes. So either way, we'll see how it goes. So maybe that will be the. I don't know. And for Spider-Man, I don't know. We'll see.
Top 3.
Top 3. It is.
It's getting real now.
It's getting very real.
The top 3.
And somehow it was funny because we blew through those last 6, but none of the top 4 have been like taking up a lot of time. And that's okay. Number 3, Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I knew it. I knew that was going to be in your top 3.
I would argue it's really hard. These 3 movies could go either way. I kind of placed it on. These 3 are so close together. It's nuts. If we're doing anyway, you all will see. But Hunchback of Notre Dame is by far my favorite musical of Disney's, even more than the top 1. But all in all, the top 1 just means a lot more to me personally. So that's why I gave it to it. But Hunchback of Notre Dame, a story, one of the greatest examples. I think every young man should watch that. I think I definitely will have my sons watch it, or just anyway in a relationship. But I definitely think it teaches when you are, it's so many lessons. But you can either be Frollo when a woman rejects you, or you could be Quasi when you get you have the 2 sides of what happens with rejection. And you can either be friend zone, quote unquote, with Quasimodo, and the thing is, this movie has taught me more lessons the more I grow up. I just loved it in the beginning because the music was amazing and the villain was creepy and bad. It freaked me out, and I was confused why he was talking to the devil in one of those songs, but it wasn't the devil. but it's weird. Definitely scared me as a little boy. I was like, am I going to go to hell? Anyway.
Apparently, there is a live action version in development.
That is, I've heard that first. I'm not even.
Supposedly, it's coming out in a year.
Well,
Within a
I'm
year.
not too excited about it. Okay, is
I
Disney
wouldn't
in
be
charge of it?
Yeah, because
Ugh.
it's a Disney movie.
Well, I know, and they do have the musical, and I will say that it is on my list to go see that musical because they change it to the book more. Which, if anyone's like, I'm going to read the book because I love the movie, you're going to cry. It's not the same. I read a what is it called? A abridged version as a little kid, and I do not have the heart to read the actual one because I know that I'll just be like, I'll never see it again. But Esmeralda is probably one of my top Disney women. If not, she is. The scene when she dances, yes. It is definitely something awakened in little Willem as a kid. You're like, wow. But it is definitely, she is amazing. She is kind. The scene of her going up to Quasimodo when everyone else joined, how fast they turned on him. I have the little figure Funko Pop. He's the king of fools and he's all excited, and it makes me so sad because I hate when he's the king of fools because of how fast they turn on him. And for her to just walk up, it begins to rain, and I just want an Esmeralda of my own someday.
You'll find your Esmeralda.
So, and it's funny because I know everyone's going, but Quasimodo doesn't end with her, and you're right. But I just want someone that kind. And definitely during certain situations in life and political views and whatever, I've thought, funny enough, a person that popped in my head was Esmeralda, and I thought, where in the world would she stand with this? And yeah, I love that gypsy woman. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Quasimodo, and I love Count Frollo. He is the scariest Disney villain. He is the best one. And if you all say Scar, I will just freak out.
Mm-hmm.
But because Scar's just Hamlet. But
yes.
But that's okay. But Hunchback of Notre Dame, everyone should watch it. I could spew about it. I probably have rambled on about it, but it is,
Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
it's so good.
It's a good one. I haven't seen it in years.
Oh,
I need to watch it again. It is a good one.
so good. Don't ever watch the second one.
So I've been told.
Oh, man, I want to watch it now so bad. I'm not crying, I promise. Teared up a little. I teared up a little bit. If I think about it too hard. Oh, they're so cruel to him. It's so sad.
They're very cruel.
Okay, what's your number 3 too?
My number 3.
Love how I've seen like actually we've seen all of our movies. Oh wait, no.
I haven't seen all of yours.
That's right. But
you've
I've seen all of mine.
My number 3 is, I can't pick just one because it's all one cohesive story. It's Lord of the Rings.
Okay, I was like,
It's the trilogy.
Okay.
It is
like,
the
he's gonna do the
holy
whole
it
thing.
is the
I
holy
knew it.
trilogy.
I knew it. I was like, he's gonna put the whole trilogy as one. I knew it. I was like, he's not. I'm like, Lord of the Rings is gonna be there,
You can't pick
and I was
one.
like, Return of the King for me.
It's good.
But you need all 3.
I need all 3. I can't just watch Return of the King.
All right, now we're talking extended, so we're talking.
I'm talking
Tim is talking
extended.
about his number 3 movie is a 9-hour long. Wait,
Yeah.
9-hour long movie.
Mm-hmm.
This man would wakes up on a Saturday. And
I have watched.
you can borrow those whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
They're right there.
Fun fact: with some friends, we spent a Saturday watching Lord of the Rings, the entire trilogy. It ended up with pillow fights and Carmel getting in the cushions, and
Oh no!
and
Your dad must have been so pissed off.
my dad was not around.
Oh,
It was not at his house.
Oh.
It was not at my grandparents' house. It was at
Oh.
a friend's house.
Oh, that's funny.
And if you're listening, you know who you are. But yeah, all three. It is Lord of the Rings is the birth of Lord of the Rings, birth of Dungeons and Dragons. Sorry,
I was
I
like,
am
what?
I can't English today.
Brain off.
Um, I guess in Spanish no puedo inglesar. I just verbified the word English in Spanish. I've done that to a few words. Like skedaddlear is really fun to say. Skedaddleominos. Anyway,
I don't speak Spanish very well, but that's funny.
it's fine. Yeah. Anyway, it is the birth of Dungeons and Dragons. It is the birth of many fantastical races and creatures. And it's
So
just
you really think that thanks to Lord of the Rings, we have D&D?
Oh, absolutely. The whole point of Dungeons and Dragons, the origins of Dungeons and Dragons, so far as the internet has told me, and as my dad has told me, and Dad, if you lied to me about this, I'm gonna cry. The origins of Dungeons and Dragons come from a group of friends wanting to roleplay Lord of the Rings on their kitchen table. Like play that as a game on their table. And that's kind of where it came from.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's been several lawsuits, and so names have been changed. Like in Dungeons and Dragons, you can play as halflings, which are the hobbits from Lord of the Rings. There's a big monster, a demon called a Baelor in Lord of the Rings.
Is that supposed to be a
It's the
Balrog?
Balrog.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. And it's just awesome. Lord of the Rings has some of my favorite characters out of all of media.
Mm-hmm.
I think Aragorn is probably one of my all-time favorite fantastical characters, period.
He is amazing. He's a wonderful character.
He's awesome. His character development through the story is amazing. He goes from a ranger who has the right to be king but doesn't want to be king to accepting his role as king of Gondor and king of men and leading an army against the Black Gates and against Mordor itself.
Ooh.
And it's awesome. He is to put it into Dungeons and Dragons speak, he is a ranger at the start, a few levels into ranger, and then he multi-classes into fighter basically for the rest of it, and it's awesome. He's awesome. I love Aragorn.
He is amazing. He's a wonderful character. Gandalf is up there. Gimli's amazing. I think Boromir might be my favorite character, followed by Aragorn.
Boromir is a
Aragorn. Sorry.
Aragorn's a different character in a book. Not a movie.
What?
There's no movie. Doesn't exist.
Oh, but I kind of liked it. It has a dragon in it.
It does have a dragon, but it's not. No.
No. Oh,
I knew that movie was gonna get brought up.
Because I can't say Aragorn rightly.
I know.
Right. Because I'm pretty sure the author of Aragon loved Aragorn. Like there's no way that it's, because you're right. Looking back at it, he was the father of fantasy. They take a giant journey. It is a giant D&D map. Because I think about it, I'm like, this movie is old. This story is old.
Yeah.
Like World War II era, like younger than that.
Yeah.
Sorry, older than that.
No. So, fun fact.
Ooh.
Another fun fact with Tim.
Dun-dun-dun.
Tolkien and C.S. Lewis fought in the war together. They both fought.
One or two.
World War.
I think they fought in the Great War.
The Great War. I believe it was the first one.
It was World War One.
Hold on.
I would say it's World War One because
World War One.
Yeah, because they were getting older. Because they both died. They both died in the 50s.
Yes.
So 50s, early 60s. Yeah, so they've both fought in the Great War. Terrible, terrible. And they all war is terrible, but the Great War was just something so shocking to the world.
Yes. Tolkien came home with some, I think it was a disease, question mark. I'm not 100% sure. If I remember right, C.S. Lewis, his squadron, his group that he was with was hit with a mortar, and he got sent home because of that. And basically, as the story is told, and I might be wrong about this, but this is what I've been told, this is what I've read, this is what I've heard. They wrote to each other and they were like, hey, let's have a competition and see who can write a better book.
Yep.
And both of them were Christian. C.S. Lewis had just been converted, and he was going very strong. He believed a lot. So his stories with the Chronicles of Narnia are very, very heavily inspired by the Bible.
Very.
And Lord of the Rings also has some very biblical things, including Gandalf and his sacrifice and resurrection.
What?
But
Who wouldn't fight, Aslan or Gandalf?
Aslan.
Really?
Aslan is Jesus.
But Gandalf also is
Literally. Like I guess both, but Aslan, I think, would
really.
win.
You were fast with that. I did not think, because I was about to like come up with I think Aslan, but
they are both very powerful beings.
But Aslan created though.
They both understand the laws of like the universe and agency, but Aslan literally created Narnia.
I love the first book.
Like I understand
so
Gandalf was present in the creation of Middle-earth, but Aslan created Narnia by himself.
It's really cool how he does it. I love the
read The Magician's Nephew.
Magician's Nephew
Read
is
The Magician's Nephew. It's good. Anyway, but yeah, the whole story from the beginning with Frodo and Sam. Frodo gets the ring, and then they go to Rivendell to figure out how to destroy it, what to do with it, and then the formation of the Fellowship of the Ring, and then they go on their journey through the mountain, and then Saruman blasts it and tries to kill them, and so they have to go through the Mines of Moria. Gandalf dies. Spoiler.
What?
It's been out longer than I've been alive. Shut up. Go watch them. Read them.
Oh my gosh.
I don't actually know. I think they were.
No, the first one. I think the first one came out the same year you were born.
Yeah, 01. Something.
They
are as old as I am. The movies and the books are older than our parents.
Is old. It's older than some of my grandparents. Yeah. Is old.
But yeah, and then through the second movie and then the third movie, and it finishes out, and it takes every part of the first movie and it gives it a completion. It finishes it.
Probably the best movie to book adaptations. Wait, no, sorry, book to movie adaptations out there. I can't think of anything.
One of the best. Princess Bride is another they're really close.
Yep.
Though Princess Bride
is only one movie.
Is dense. Princess Bride is a dense book.
It's dumb.
It takes 3 to 5 pages to cross a river.
Jeez.
Anyway. But yeah, Lord of the Rings. It's amazing. I love the trilogy. They are awesome. My dad and I can nerd out about it a ton. And it's just awesome. For Halloween a few years ago, we were hobbits and my dad was Gandalf.
That's awesome.
My dad, for those of you who don't know my dad, which is probably most of you.
Most of you. Even I don't know his dad.
He collects swords like I do. He's the reason I collect swords. The swords that he collects are the Lord of the Rings swords. He has Sting. He has Glamdring, the sword that Gandalf uses. He has Aragorn's sword, the Flame of the West, Anduril. He has Gimli's battle axe. He has Arwen's curved,
Oh, that's
long,
awesome.
curved sword. He has an Urukai sword with the pointed tip,
Ew.
pointed edge. It's just awesome. And he has Gandalf the White's staff as well. It's broken because siblings, but he has all those because he loves stories so much, and it's awesome.
I definitely think that definitely helped make you who you are today. That's pretty awesome.
100%. 100%. In many ways, I am a miniature version of my dad. Maybe a little more eccentric in certain aspects.
I think that I am not, but I definitely have aspects of my father.
Mm-hmm.
So, but not saying that that's a bad thing. It's just I'm just more eccentric. I believe I like cartoons way more and do way more voices. I'm way more extroverted than my father.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Still love him, and we still can have nerdy talks.
All right. I think in terms of movies that made me who I am, the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Star Wars saga, those are the two biggest that have turned me into who I am today.
I was really surprised Lord of the Rings was above Star Wars, but honestly, it makes more sense.
It will always forever hold the top spot in my heart.
Oh.
It is my number one live action movie series. So the next two movies in my list are not live action.
Wow.
You will see what they are, and I will explain why.
So this one could definitely have switched Hunchback, but I really was thinking about it, and I was like, this movie to me is so powerful. Read the book. It is an amazing book, and the movie is another amazing adaptation. It is The Green Mile from Stephen King. It came out in 1998. It is such an amazing story of to me, it is one of the, not to go all religious here, but to me is one of the best analogies of Jesus Christ's sacrifice I've ever heard, or at least his understanding. For those of you who don't know the story, it is a story of men working the oh my gosh, so sorry. I just spaced out for a second. There's a bunch of executioners who work in a prison, and they work on death row, and their death row is, I want to say laminated, but that's not it. It's they just call it the Green Mile, and they use an electric chair. And a man is brought forward for killing two girls, doing more than that, but we'll just say killing two little girls. Giant man, giant black man. Like, he is above 7 foot. He is a giant. And his name is John Coffey. And he's accused of this terrible, terrible action. And turns out, he also has an amazing gift. He can heal. He is amazing. He is kind. And I would have to just encourage everyone to watch, or at least read the book. The book is so good. It's very close to the movie. So if you do not want to watch the movie, which again, visually, it is different. Of course, our minds can be more grotesque, but sometimes just watching what they portray, it's hard. But just the choices they make, and there's one part where they're trying to get to know him better, and they get to know what it's like inside his head, and he goes, every day humans, like, in summary, I don't want to quote it word for word because I'll just cry, but he just goes on to say that, everyone's fighting. It's like pieces of glass in his head. He can feel the hate, he can feel the pain, and he just wants it to end. And it is such a wonderful story. It is, I don't want to talk about it too much because I want you all to enjoy this story because it is one of my favorites. I definitely would say it is above. The reason why it went above Hunchback of Notre Dame is because it was like a gut punch when I first read it. And then watching it, funny enough, my parents actually showed me a scene of it when I was a little kid. It was on the TV, so it was edited. But it was on TV, and funny enough, for some reason, we could watch TV on our big cube computer. I was like 9 or 8, And we were living in Salt Lake City, and it was on, and basically John Coffey just heals a mouse. This
I've seen this. I've seen it.
uh
I've seen that scene.
this convicted murderer is
You
friends.
showed me that scene.
I think I might have. Did I?
Yes, you showed me that scene.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't remember.
I don't remember why we were talking about John Coffey, but I remember you showed me this scene.
If I did, then if I don't remember, but I'm glad I did. But John heals this man's mouse. This man is going up for execution, and his pet mouse is killed in front of him. But John reaches his giant hands through the bar and he heals it, and it was such an amazing scene. And it's just so good, and a lot of questions of morality definitely made me think twice about executions in a way. But I just think just Michael Clark Duncan, he's the voice of the Rhino in Kung Fu Panda, funny enough.
Okay.
He's John Coffey, but he just killed it. He died in 2012, and it was around 2012, it was before 2014, but just such a good job. I love John Coffey. If I ever went to a convention and someone dressed up as him, I would run and give him the biggest hug. I wouldn't care if this full grown, white man running up to a big black man, giving a hug, being like, John Coffey, I love you. Like, they'd be like, it's okay. Like, I just wouldn't care. But the I'm tired boss meme is, if you ever see that meme, that's John Coffey. So, but I can go on forever. Sorry. Love it. Oh, I want to watch all these movies so bad.
I know we're talking about these movies. So I just wanna watch.
All right, Tim. Number 2.
My number 2. It was my number 1 for the longest time.
Okay. I'm excited.
This movie takes the stereotypes of the hero and the villain, and it kind of parodies this concept of the hero and the villain in a way that's just masterful. This movie I used to have memorized line for line, word for word.
Really? Okay.
Giant blue head. Megamind.
Oh my gosh.
Megamind. It is my number 2. It is such a good movie.
Another superhero movie.
Shut up.
Everyone remember this moment. This man shamed me. Shame him. Boo. I'm just kidding. Be gone, Metro Man. No, I'm sorry.
I love you too.
I love you too, random citizen.
Yeah.
I've only seen it like 5 times.
That's probably how many times I've seen it in the last year.
And I'm not saying I didn't hate it. I hated it. I don't know, funny enough. And I love superheroes, but for me, I just
love it because I love
how much you love it.
my favorite thing about the movie is it takes a stereotype. It takes the superhero and the supervillain stereotype, and it takes it, sticks it in a box with a bunch of other things like Legos and D4s and things that hurt when you step on them, and it shakes it all up.
Are they dead or alive? I don't know.
And you open up the box and it's just a masterpiece. It's beautiful. And it's I love Megamind so much because it's just a different kind of movie. You take the superhero movie, and yeah, it's got some action bits and it's got the romance, but it's different. It's funny in a really good way. It is exactly how a superhero romance comedy action movie should be. That's exactly what that is exactly how this movie should be. And I love the damsel in distress. Roxanne Ritchie is not in distress. She is confident and she knows what she's doing, and
she's hilarious.
She's done this so much that she knows what to do, and I don't know, it's just awesome. And I don't know, I love the whole thing with the villain wins because the hero gets bored.
He just
right?
gives up.
The hero has done this so much, and he's just so sick of repeating the same thing over and over that he's like, all right, let's see how Metro City responds instead of Metro Man. Let's see how they respond without their superhero to this supervillain whose superpower is really just that he's smart.
And they gave up.
Uh-huh.
They just were so dependable on it. And it was so,
Yeah.
it's a very well done story of superheroes. It did a great job capturing many of the stereotypical ideas. It really did a good job of going about how power is not something that when it's thrust upon you, it's going to make you do good. I think Titan is one of my favorite, like, he's my favorite character of that movie because and even though I don't like, I don't know, I really love Titan. I love what he represents because just he gets that power, and no matter how hard Megamind trained him, doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's the whole, with great power comes great responsibility. I told Willem he couldn't put Spider-Man in his top 10, but we're going to talk about it for a moment. Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. The whole concept of having power, with having more of the ability to do something than someone else, because that's what power is. Power is the ability to act. That is the purest definition of the word that I could find, that I
agree.
think of. And when you are given that power, when you are given that ability, all it does is amplify who you are. It amplifies all of your qualities, your good qualities and your bad qualities. It takes it all. It's one of the things that I love about the Reckoners series by Brandon Sanderson, Steelheart.
I love how we're just going into superheroes.
If you haven't read Steelheart, I encourage you to do so. It is fantastic. And I know you're laughing.
I am, because ironically, I'm the superhero buff, but yet Tim's
I'm the one talking about
he's got more superhero movies in his top 10 than I do.
But in Steelheart and that series, the powers and the weaknesses of the epics of the superheroes and villains and stuff are tied into who they already were. They were augmented. They weren't changed entirely. They were augmented.
It expounded them. Expanded them. It
expounded upon what was already there.
Yes.
And it expanded what was already there. Both. Yes.
Cool.
You're right.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. But that's the thing about Titan is, like, the bad, the lazy, and the lustful and the jealous bits of him that's what comes out. That's the things that he uses to fuel himself, and to become Titan, instead of the good that Metro Man was innately. It's just a difference in that. And then you take Megamind.
I know.
Who's literally, he doesn't ever hold that power in his own hands at all throughout the whole movie.
He just felt like he was meant to be the opposition. That's all he was, but yet the Metro Man was just too perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect slap at Superman, though. I have to.
No,
I totally agree with, like, what they were saying when it came to Superman being too perfect, but I don't care. That's probably why I don't it's not in my top 100. I do respect it, and I respect anyone who loves it, and people love it, but it's just, people talk about that. I'm like, oh, that exists. Tim's like, oh.
I love Megamind. It's just such a good movie.
So good.
It was, fun fact, it was the first movie I owned personally.
Aw.
A really old friend She and I, it was our favorite movie. We would watch it together with other friends and just alone, whatever. And we got to the point where we would quote the movie at each other, and it was hilarious and awesome. And there were days where we would just text each other quotes from the movie, and we'd continue the line, and it would keep us entertained in class and at work and whatever. And it was just awesome. And this movie holds a spot in my heart because of the memories attached to the movie itself.
Aw. Well, that's kind of what my number one is to me, which is I'm really curious what your number one's going to be, but I'll
You
go.
know my number one.
I can't honestly, I can't think about it at the moment. I'm like freaking out because I've been.
You literally scrolled past it earlier and were like,
Oh, that's
on the
right.
list."
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yes,
We've
because
talked about this
yes, and
before.
you've said it many times. All right, all right,
And a
all
lot
right,
of
all
you
right.
probably already know it too.
I totally can't believe I just spaced on that because I've been waiting for it too. Anyway, but my number one is Hercules.
Yeah, I figured as much.
It is. I have that movie is 2 years younger than me. It is one of the probably the first I as a little toddler. Like I remember before my little sister was born, which would mean it was around when I was like 2. I remember holding that movie in a VHS cassette, in a cassette holder, and I remember putting it into VHS in the VHS like that. One of the first things on this earth I learned how to do was put in a cassette tape, press play, and rewind it.
That is adorable.
And my parents taught me how to do that, and I was very careful. There were times that I think I do have one, like, but the thing is, I learned to like love those movies. I don't think I ever pulled out the film. My little sister, or I think I did it once, and I'd be careful, but I can't think of any movie that I ruined. I can't think of a single movie which I, on purpose or on accident, and like little kid, just whatever, ruined. My little sisters scraped up some DVDs of mine, or they tore out the stuff, but they were babies. So that was my fault for leaving them out. But
And the funny thing is, a lot of the people listening probably have no idea what the heck you're talking about.
it's
I
fine.
do.
I don't
I
care.
grew up with VHS
I think a lot of
too.
people do. It's okay. But I learned how to, and then even when the movie was over, I would press stop, rewind, and then I'd take it out, and then I'd probably put in Hunchback of Notre Dame or another movie. I remember, funny thing is, I remember going to the hospital, and my sister was born in April of 98, and I had a little tiny backpack, and I put Hercules. So I am, like, seriously, I am a little over 2.5. Okay, earliest memories of me, 1998. I am putting in Hercules, Hunchback, possibly Mulan. No, not Mulan yet. Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. What else was in there? I don't know, but I remember walking in. My mom was exhausted after having a baby. I go, "Mommy, look, I brought these for you." She goes, "That's nice, sweetie." But and Hercules, just it is like my friend. I bought a Funko Pop, and it has the VHS art with it, and I was like, I'm definitely getting that. I in one of my boxes. Before we took the VHSs to DI, I took the art of the thing, and it's in here. It's in one of my boxes somewhere. But that movie is just means a lot. One of the reasons why I kind of was telling Tim earlier, probably one of the biggest reasons why I believe in a God, why I believe in love, why I believe that I hope that if I prove myself that I will be welcomed by a loving father figure into the next life. And I know this is really getting spiritual, but again, it was a spiritual experience to me before I really found Christianity in this lifetime. I was just hoping to be like Hercules. Hercules prayed to Zeus and received an answer to where he belonged, and so many things. Hercules dove into the depths of hell to catch the woman he loved. So hopefully when I meet someone like that, that's what I'll do for them. So I think, oh my gosh, someone made a list and they said that Eugene made a bigger sacrifice than Hercules. And they're like, well, he died. I'm like, Hercules technically died. He died in that well, and right as he touched her hand, they cut the rope. He died. Anyway, I could go on about that movie forever, but Hercules is my number one. It is forever and always will be my top movie. It is what has helped who I am today. Pain and Panic are hilarious. Hades is the sassy gay friend, which all women need. Seriously, when he's going off, when Meg is going off, this one's different. And Hades is like, please, it's a guy. Like, I'm like, yes.
I've never heard of
You saw me on the
Hades.
phone with Kenzie. You heard me on the phone with my friend in Tennessee. Hades is what probably helped me be such close friends with women. Ironically enough, is from Hades, even though he owns Meg. The way he talks to her, he literally is like, this is stupid. It's a guy. Guys can be dumb. And the thing is, Hades listened to Meg. He really did. It's ooh. And the little sequel an author wrote about Meg's life after, it's wonderful. Just 10 out of 10. But yeah, Hercules, it is. Oh, it means so much. And your top one, I definitely am. If we did animated movies, it would be probably in my top 10.
Yeah.
It's in my top Pixar movies. Sorry if that's spoiling it for everyone.
No, it is my all-time favorite movie for a very good reason. It's a cute movie. It's adorable. My number one movie is my number one for a lot of reasons, but the reason that Disney's Up is my favorite movie of all time is because of how much I relate to Russell and to Mr. Fredricksen together at the same time. I am an Eagle Scout. That is one of the achievements I got in my lifetime when I was younger. I worked at a scout camp. I earned a bunch of merit badges. And I love camping. I love hiking. I love the outdoors. And so I relate to Russell in the whole, can I help you cross the street so I can get this achievement kind of thing?
The wilderness must be explored.
Yeah. And then there's Mr. Fredricksen, whose complete apathy towards the world around him I can relate to in a sense.
Yeah, I know you can.
Just because I have to preface this. I love people in general, but I also hate people. Period.
This guy and I came up with this perfect phrase for it. We love certain humans specifically, but hate humans generally.
Yes. It's a good way to put it. And I mean, I like to think I'm a pretty likable dude. And I get along with just about everybody. But there are some things that just get me to the point where I'm ready to smack someone upside the head with my walking stick.
And then go to court. And then you just have to go and
retire. I'm ready to retire.
I'm ready to retire right now. I'm gonna go tie up balloons to my room and just fly away.
And that's another thing. The balloons. If I could have a superpower, and I'm going back to the superheroes thing. Shut up.
Everyone remember this episode forever, okay? Just remember this moment.
If I could have one superpower, it would be the ability to fly.
Okay.
I love the idea of flight and being able to just be free in the air and not have to worry about the ground and just, I don't know. Kaladin Stormblessed is if I had the powers of one specific order, it would be the Windrunners. If I were an Allomancer, I would be a Steel Pusher. I would want the ability to fly. I just
You would. You'd be good for both.
And that's the thing about Up is his house is freaking flying. He's free. He doesn't have to worry about mortgage and taxes anymore. He's free. And it's just, I don't know. It just always, every time I watch the scene where the balloons come out the chimney and the music swells and the house takes off and it detaches itself from the ground. It gives me goosebumps every time, and it makes me really, really, really crave flight. I hate airplanes. I don't hate them. I hate that when I'm on an airplane, I don't feel free. I feel contained. I feel stuck. I feel trapped, imprisoned.
It's different.
It is different. My goal in life, one of my many goals in life on my bucket list is
Hot air
to go.
balloon.
No, is to go skydiving. Hot air balloon would be also be a lot of fun.
You
But I want to
wanna
go skydiving.
Oh gosh.
I want to go skydiving.
Wow.
so bad.
You are awesome. Nope. I am a big fat nope.
I have a healthy fear of heights, but I don't fear heights. I'm not afraid of heights.
I do not want to.
I'm afraid of falling,
Mhm.
and I'm afraid of getting hurt because I'm fragile.
You're
my-
a fragile thing.
My friend group has dubbed me the immortal but fragile human being.
I start
'cause
calling you
I've-
Mr. Glass.
I've broken so many bones, and I've had surgery, and I get hurt. But I'm immortal. I haven't died yet, so Anyway,
I've died 5 times. Just kidding.
but no, that's the feeling of flight that I feel from that movie, is awesome. And then the story itself is just beautiful. It takes you on this roller coaster of emotions for the entirety of the movie. The beginning of the movie is adorable. It is the cutest 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes of a movie
Ever. I will not argue with you there. It is amazing. One of the best beginnings.
Carl and Ellie and their story is adorable, and it could be a movie on its own
It could.
very easily.
Did you watch the new shorts?
Doug Days.
Did you watch Doug Days and then Carl's Date?
I have not seen Carl's Date.
Okay, I know what we're watching when we go eat dinner tonight.
Okay, good to know. But no, I love it so much, and Kevin coming in, the big bird, is hilarious.
Change him. I'll feed his newspapers. I'm sick of you.
Yep. I love Kevin as a character. He's not, or she's not, a person, but she still has so much personality, and you can connect with her and relate to her. And it's just awesome. And then I love Doug with his Zach, I'm throwing you under the bus here. -3 intelligence. And the whole, he is adorable. He's loyal. He's funny, but he's kind of dumb.
Hi,
In
my
a
name is
cute
Doug.
way, in a cute way, and I want a dog that is like Doug.
I could see you with
If my the perfect dog for me is the dog that I had growing up. Molly.
Okay.
She was a little Shih Tzu, but she had a very
You can't say that on the podcast. I'm just kidding.
Shih Tzu. It's hyphenated. Shush. Anyway, but she reminds me. Doug reminds me of her, and she
Aw.
passed away several years ago, and
Still hurts.
I miss her, and she's a family member, But if I could have a dog that was like her and like Doug, it'd be awesome. And then there's the villain.
It's Karl Muntz.
It's Carl Muntz, and it's
Just a man so hell-bent. He's so... I just wanted to prove that I'm not crazy.
has to prove to the world
He's
that
in
he's not
better
a
shape.
liar.
He is almost 2 decades older than Carl, but yet he walks around faster. He stands up straighter. He doesn't care. It's like the DuckTales villain, the old DuckTales villain.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking
I know
about,
what you're
right?
talking
I
about.
don't remember his name, but I remember
I
that
don't
scene,
either.
and I was like, Carl Muntz is the old villain from DuckTales. Pure willpower, pure spite.
Yep.
I will bring back this bird alive. And you're like, oh. Which makes me think, how old is Kevin, or how many generations of Kevins were there until
Yeah.
it's so insane to me. And he must have, I honestly think he killed so many of them. That's the thing, is he wasn't trying to kill them. He had to capture them. And it just, oh, and the dogs. Oh, sorry. I don't mean to. Every movie that you mentioned, except Save 2, I've been like, I love all these movies. I have such good memories of all of them. So sorry that I'm always like,
No, you're fine. I love Up so much, and it's, I don't know, it makes me excited to be a parent,
aw.
because I want to have my own little Russell running around, you know, wanting to explore the wilderness.
The
and
wilderness must be explored.
roar.
Sorry.
And I just, it makes me excited to have those kinds of adventures with little me's and little Sabrinas, you know?
Aw.
I don't know. And it might just be that that's the point in my life that I'm at, and that's why this is my favorite movie, because it gets me excited for that. But I don't know, there's a lot of emotions and a lot of memories and a lot of feelings and thoughts that come to me every single time I watch the movie, and it just makes me feel happy and good inside. Makes me feel warm inside, warm and fuzzy.
I think that's kind of how all these movies were. And I can't wait to kind of like what you were saying, except in a different sense of I am excited to be a dad one day. I hope to be a dad one day. And I can't wait to watch these movies with them to show like this is what your daddy loves. This is what kind of has helped inspire the man he is today. And these are the movies that just he wants to share with you. I love when people talk about what they love. Even though I Mega Man isn't in my top, I love listening about how much you loved it. I loved hearing how much you loved D&D, which I was like, again, D&D, Megamind weren't too like they didn't blow me away, but to see Tim and hear Tim's reactions to those movies, it's like, oh, and now they have a special place in my head. It makes me want to go watch them again. So I think that really think it was really cool seeing how we were I really wanted us not to go too ham. This episode was probably going to end up shorter, but those last 4 movies for each of us just hit hard. But I would like everyone, as a personal request, to just think about some of your favorite movies and or even books, and what movies have helped inspired you be who you are. And if you can't think about those, please try. And I hope that you can find stories that you've loved and try to put those more into your everyday lives and try to be the better version you can be. Because I know that the heroes from our stories and our movies and our books can really help influence us to be better people. So
You are the protagonist of your own story. And all of these movies that we've talked about have beautiful stories written by in the perspective of our protagonists. And I really sincerely hope that each of us as people, as citizens of Earth, are able to
broad here.
are able to live that story. I don't want to be the villain of my own story. I want to be the protagonist.
I don't want to be a villain of anyone's story.
I don't want to be exactly. I really hope that each of us can find what makes us who we are and roll with it, keep pushing forward and be the best versions of ourselves that we can. And that's kind of what these movies have taught me, is that in order to be the best me that I can be, I have to try and remember who I am and where I come from. what my upbringing was. And just take that with you, please. And remember that out there somewhere, you will always be able to find a Sam Gamgee to be your best friend and to carry you through the toughest times.
Oh, and I'll close the episode with just my favorite line from the Iron Giant, because I think it sums it up very powerfully for this episode. But everyone, just you are who you choose to be. And with that, we will see you later, pitches.